doesn't pay.
So I just completed my term as president of the American Society of Journalists and Authors, which is a job that I spent a long time working towards and a job that I loved. And around ASJA, I kind of got known as the queen of diplomacy. I was really pretty good at getting people to do what I wanted them to do and feel really good about doing it. So here are my secrets for influencing everybody around you that you need to influence as a leader. My first secret is spend lots of time listening. People have a lot to say, and sometimes they may be telling you something that you already know or something that you don't need to hear because you've already made a decision that makes what they have to say moot. Listen to them anyway. There's nothing that'll make a person feel more important and more like they want to help you achieve your goals than if they feel like they've been listened to. Sometimes you have to listen to someone and then say, no, I'm sorry, we're doing something else. And the fact that you listen to them is going to make all the difference. My second tip is ask lots of questions. Most often, a great way to get people going into the direction or thinking in the direction you want them to is to ask questions that will gently lead them there. But it's also good to ask questions because you actually need to know what they're thinking and what obstacles they're hitting. And if you don't ask questions, you won't know. It's a really important part of being a leader to figure out what the world looks like from the point of view of the people you're trying to lead, and the only way you'll find out is to ask them. Another thing, and I cannot stress the importance of this enough, is to make a human connection with everyone that you're trying to lead, and actually everyone that you're trying to deal with in business in any form. I've been amazed when I've seen people, just with a little bit of human connection, get people to do incredible things. And a human connection is easy to do. It's a matter of being yourself, telling the person a little bit about who you are, asking them about their family and what they like to do. It doesn't take much to connect with someone as a person, and in the business world, it makes a very huge difference. Another tip that's really important, and I don't understand why more leaders don't do this more, is never ever miss a chance to apologize. If you have done something wrong, or even if you haven't, if you have done something that has inconvenienced someone in some way, whether it was avoidable or not, or even if circumstances beyond your control have caused someone to be inconvenienced or harmed in some way, always, always apologize. You will gain so much credibility by doing it. You'll get employees who are more motivated. You'll get good feelings from the people you apologize to. I think a lot of people are hesitant to apologize because they think it puts them in a weak position or something. It's the opposite. It puts you in a strong position. Apologizing is always a smart thing to do. Another tip I have for influencing people, this is going to sound obvious, but people don't always do it, is try to give people what they want. Now, that requires figuring out what they want, and that takes me back to my first tip, which is that you have to ask a lot of questions and listen to what people say in response. But once you know what somebody wants, give it to them as much as you can. And often what people want is to own things, to be in charge of their own projects, to be in charge of their own destiny. And to whatever degree you can make that happen, you'll have someone who's more motivated and more ready to work hard for you. Another important tip, I think, is to let people save face. Now, there's a fine balance here because I also think it's extremely important to be honest, and I try very, very hard to lie as rarely as I can in business. But sometimes when someone has done a really bad job and you need to let them go or give them a different responsibility or do something else that they won't like, if you can point to a reason that makes sense to them and makes sense to you and looks like it's plausible, that may be a better thing to do than to just say, you're not qualified to do this and I have to pick someone else. So find that balance between being honest with someone because you're going to help them develop, or being a little bit dishonest and letting somebody save their pride. Sometimes the second of those things is the right thing to do. And my last tip for influencing people, and I have to admit this is something that I need to do a little more often myself, is to actually pick up the phone and talk to a person. In text, in email, things can easily get miscommunicated or misunderstood. And while I write the most loving thanks and apology and praise-ridden emails you can imagine, there are times when picking up the phone and talking to someone is really the most effective way to make sure that they feel like they've been listened to, that they feel like you care about them, that they feel like your concerns are important, their concerns rather are important to you and to your organization. So if you have something uncomfortable to discuss, if you have a piece of bad news to deliver, I know it's so tempting. You want to put the bad news in an email. It's so much easier. It takes so much less time. Pick up the phone, tell the person, be straightforward with them. It's the best way to be a good leader.